Good evening and welcome to the Sheila New Comedy Show. I am your host, Sheila New, and I am joined here by one of my super producer friends, Wanda Rose, and we hopefully will see our other super producer friend, Candace Murphy Sisak. And we are here kicking off season 5, episode 2, breaking news, and I add my own little caveat. What the hell is going on in America? I don't understand it. And hopefully we'll be able to work through this whole process and just like with anything else, find the humor in things that are so serious. But with that being said, we're gonna kick this thing off. Wanda, you was in the building with me, and I appreciate it. Happy Friday, and happy Women's History Month.
Yeah, it's definitely Women's History Month, and it's March was a month to remember.
Remember, matter of fact, the last couple months, to be honest, has really painted a different type of landscape. I don't know of any former sitting president that has caused this much ruckus in the first not even full 90 days of being in office. Can you?
I'm not that old, but I don't remember anything of this happening before. I was talking to somebody today, my mother, and she was saying as long as she's been living, she doesn't remember any president doing as much as he's done in the first 90 days, even in their whole tenure as president.
Okay, so she don't remember either.
No, there's a kind of different kind of, I don't even know we can call us a president right now. Come with a new name for the next 4 years. Hopefully it's not 4 years, but I don't necessarily think it's even a presidency.
I don't, yeah, because there's nothing really presidential about what's going on right now at all. I don't see it. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like a bullying session has ensued, and we just pissing a lot of people off. So before we even get deeper, let me just say that our views and our opinions are what we feel. We don't sit here and try to tell you to lean into what we're saying. We just like to have a conversation and get different perspectives. And this is for entertainment purposes only. But if you happen to glean something from it because it hits you just right, then run with that. But always fact check, do your own research, and then just kick back and laugh because, baby, sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying, to keep from yelling, to keep from screaming. Because all of this stuff that's going on right now, it'll cause and invoke all of those things. But I have a tendency to lean into the laughter. So with that being said, let me shout out to Canada because we definitely are sister friends, especially being in the great state of Michigan. Canada is right across the water, not even a stone throw away. We have been allies with Canada for a long time. I think them the wrong people to piss off. But what if so for our comrades in Canada, don't turn our lights off, okay? If y'all can find a way to work around it and turn the lights off on Pennsylvania Avenue, please have at it. Let that happen. But for the rest of us, we don't want no smoke. And I'm just saying, and good on y'all for standing y'all ground. I ain't even mad at y'all. You got to be able to stand up for yourselves because being a bully ain't even sexy, not even a little bit. What you say, Wanda?
No, being a bully is not sexy. I think we need, like I said, we need a new name for the next for this 4 year term. It's not president because there's nothing's presidential about what's happening. And we are looking like a bunch of bullies that's just messing with everybody on the schoolyard. They used to like to play with us. We used to be the one everybody wanted to play with. Now nobody want to play with us.
Nobody. Everybody having their own experience. And but a lot what I will say though, because I believe a long time ago when the United States was represented, I won't say people feared us, but they had a certain level of respect. And I think now people just feeling like they tired of being pushed around, being tired of being told what to do with their own economy, their own commerce, and all those things. And I think people have been doing a great job in these respective countries themselves. They don't need our 2 cents in it. If anything, we might be able to learn a thing or two or three if we pay attention to really what's going on and listen. I think that's part of the problem too, is that there's a lot of dictating going on. Take that how you want to. It's a lot of that happening and a lot of people not really having an actual conversation with the ability to be able to understand what's really popping. But I think even as citizens in these United States and all the things, we have to be able to say, you know what, we're not going for it. We're not going to just succumb to what it is you're saying. I think we all have to make decisions ourselves one way or the other. That's my take on, well, part of it, of what's going on, but it's just crazy. But it's a lot to get through in this short term that we're gonna be together this evening. But hopefully, like I said, I like to find the humor in all of it as much as we can. And if you have an electric vehicle, you might want to see how much you can get for it. Cause right now they're not trending as far as being popular. But what you say regarding your electric automobiles nowadays?
I don't have an electric vehicle, but I think people are selling their cars and record numbers because of who, I don't even feel like saying the name, but people are selling their cars and record numbers. So I'm glad I don't have one. But getting on to something else, the slogan for this year was Make America Great Again. But I think we should change it to Make America Not Great.
I don't even think
I
that
think that
we
would
don't
be,
have to change it. It's already doing that.
I think that's what they meant to say, not Make America Great. I think they meant to say Make America Not Great. Something like that. Make America Not Great. I think that was a real slogan.
That's exactly what's happening. The more that we peel back these layers of this onion, honey, the more it just seems like it, right? It's like people used to rush to get over here to be a part of this because it was just a land of opportunity. And I still believe that you can create opportunities even in this mess. You just got to be more creative in initiating yourself and doing so and just block out the outside noise. It's just like Kendrick said, turn the TV off. Sometimes you do, and we talked about that last month, for your own mental sanity and sanctity. Sometimes you do have to dial all of this rhetoric down. And it's hard to ignore because it is everywhere. It's not just on the news outlets, on your television, but it's on every social media outlet there is, because it's every day. It's something to pay attention to. But what I will say is this though, please be mindful. A lot of throwing the rocks and hiding your hand and this bait and switch type of stuff be going on. You got to be careful because I still feel like there's something greater going on behind the scenes that we getting distracted with the upfront shenanigans that's going on. But we got to make sure that we pay attention to the deeper meanings of what's going on behind the scenes. And just like with the leak that happened, that a reporter got tagged into a conversation. Now everybody don't know nothing about the conversation, or they said, oh no, it wasn't any proprietary information that was given. But how come they won't release the documents? What you say about that one?
You talking about Single Geek? They were on the app Signal and they decided to have a chat. And then somehow a reporter got added to the chat by mistake. And I thought that wasn't the most intelligent thing to do, to add her. So I'm not sure how that happened, but it's either the information is classified or it's not classified. In one breath, they say it was classified. It was not classified information. So then everybody should be able to see what they were talking about because it wasn't classified. As a matter of fact, that reporter was in New Orleans yesterday. I wish I had known. I knew about it at the last minute, but he did an interview at Tulane University, which it was sold out. They had a packed house. So I think it was interesting. What would you have thought if you had gotten the message, if you were on it by accident? What would you have done, Silly?
I don't think it was no accident. It's just like being here, right? It's like when you tag people in or you send a message or whatever's going on, there's a notification of some kind that goes out. And I think that when people get tagged into a situation and then see who's in the room, right? The reporter had the time to exit if he felt like he was tagged accidentally, but he stayed. And if it was me or somebody would have tagged, I don't know, I probably would have been disruptive in my fashion. to stir the pot a little bit and find a way. Now there's with this new update on the iPhone, there's a little button on the left-hand side that you record the conversation. It does announce it though. Nonetheless, you can still push a button, but I would have see how much shit I could have stirred and see how fast they would have been able to close down the meeting. But I don't think anything is done by accident, and that's just my thought.
And there's a theory that the person who added him may have done it on purpose. There's a theory that he was trying to be
I'm gonna lean into that.
that he may have done it on purpose. There's a slight theory that says that. So some people calling him a hero.
Yeah, he was a whistleblower, basically. Is that what we're saying? Or he was one somebody probably said, "Can you see what's going on? I can't believe that this mess is going on." And they had to tag somebody else in it. It's like when you go somewhere and you see something, you just can't believe your eyes or your ears, and you got to immediately get somebody else in on it with you so they can see the shenanigans that's going on. Like this can't be the only one to immerse myself in this. I need somebody else to see this too. I felt like that's what kind of happened in that scenario, in that situation. What about you?
That could have been the case. That could have been the case, but I think it's definitely probably won't be the first or the last time it happens. And I think we appreciate knowing the lunacy that happens. And I think it's going to continue. And I do think there's something greater going on. And I do think this is just a moment in time, and we have to silence the noise at the same time. Candace is not here, but she always says that we have to silence the noise because there's a lot of noise going on. You want to be aware, but you can't get too wrapped up in everything because it's happening at a rapid speed. Just like student loans, the Department of Education this week, they with executive order. I looked up how many executive orders were written compared to other presidents. And he's almost at 100, I think, executive orders already. And some presidents only at 100 their whole 4 years. So this week he signed an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. So what that mean for student loans? If you have student loans, I guess you don't have to pay them, right?
You would think so, but I don't think that's what that means. I think that they feel like they are trying to erase some things from the history books altogether. So if there's no funding, right, and there's no money, and that's what people really have to understand, it's just not for your regular basic programs. It's for a lot of your Title One, a lot of the children that may receive programs like your speech therapy, your occupational therapy, because they have a IEP or an individual education plan for your students. So if you start cutting money, let's really talk about it. Get rid of the student loan debt so people can go ahead and live their lives. They already spent X amount of dollars going to school to make themselves better, to contribute to their households and to the society. But if you want to get rid of something, if you really want to put your little cape on, no matter what color it is, you want it flapping in the wind, yeah, eliminate student debt. Let that be where you hang your hat. But don't get to messing with Head Start programs, preschool, or children that really need additional services in order for them to be successful. Because then what are we really doing? Are we really setting our children up for success? Because if we start cutting funding, it don't sound successful to me. And then I also heard today, just briefly, when they were talking about it reintroducing the laws that like ban child labor. They talking about bringing that stuff back. It's like the craziest stuff that you could ever dig up in the history book. This shit is happening. Like who's smoking and what y'all smoking on? Because this cannot be weed that y'all smoke. This can't, because weed don't make you act like this here. This is blowing me on so many different levels. But have you heard that about the child labor laws too? As we talking about that?
Florida has a law that I think that would change their child labor law, and when kids can work in lower age, their kids can work overnight because of the deportation and because a lot of illegal residents may not be working out. They need more people to come. They need more laborers, so that's why they're considering that. But it's not a good idea, and that just adds into everything that's going on in the lunacy of what's happening across this country. And I think when you talk about student loans, that I wish the last person who got fired for Department of Education, they needed this to lead everybody's student loans. And the last president we had, they were able to help get rid of student loans for some students. So I think that was a good thing. They don't talk about good things from the last president. So we want to see what happens with this one, because so far they're not doing anything that I see that's good. I haven't seen a lot of good in this one yet. I don't know about you, but I know the lot of people who working in the Department of Education, that'll be a win if they get rid of everybody's student loan somehow. They just delete everything.
Yeah.
A win.
Delete that and any back taxes that anybody owes. Let them get let's get a clean slate popping. If you really want to make America great again, because that's your little slogan, and you want to get on the right side of people, do some good. But all of this stuff that you doing, it don't make any sense to me. And I don't think, and what really blows me about this whole presidency, and I'm putting that in air quotes, real time, is that nobody has a voice loud enough in the room, strong enough in the room to say, yo, what are you really doing? You can't do this right. You might be upset. Maybe you was pissed off because the first 4 years didn't go when you were in office, didn't go like you thought it should have went, but we was in the middle of a pandemic. So, you didn't you weren't able to get off the way you wanted to or whatever the case may be, but you just can't come in here and disrupt things. And these people who are riding behind him so tough, I hope that all the states are paying attention to who you all elected to represent your state, your municipality, to if they for this man and they pushing him forward, y'all need to pay attention and open up your eyes, because if it's an election year where you live, y'all need to vote that clown out too. Get rid of it. Really need to start at your local and state levels. You got to figure out who you really want to represent you, and are they going to represent you to the fullest. We need to start paying attention and start reading all the writing on the walls and start reading the rooms a lot better than what we're doing, because you got some of these people who represent some of these states. And now it's a whole lot of people that don't look like us. Y'all stuck because y'all voted for them, but y'all the ones who losing y'all jobs because y'all thought y'all had a secure, cushy government job. Now y'all don't have it. It's crazy.
I think you're gonna see a lot of change when they have elections. If we look at these town halls that are happening across the country, people vocal at these town halls, they're upset. They about to riot at these town halls, and it's quite hilarious. And I'm happy to see that people are upset, and to the point of that they're like limiting the town halls that they have.
Yeah, they ought to be doing this. They ought to be upset. And I love it. I love the disruption that is going on at the town hall meetings. I love that people are choosing to use their voice and they're asking questions. And the people who are the elected officials are feeling a certain kind of way, because it's like, now, how do you answer some of these questions? Because you know that what you've done is not right. So where do you go from here? What turns do you take? Or are you going to be that one individual that finds other individuals that are like you, so you all can band together and make a difference and stand up for the people? Because now this is not just impacting our children, but it's impacting our elderly. We're talking about Social Security being messed with. We're talking about people who take medication. All of these things, we gotta really think about it, because if it's bad for the people that are under us, meaning our young people, and if it's bad for the people that are older than us, meaning our parents and grandparents and others, then think about what that means for you as an individual. That you're not exempt. And I think that's what a lot of people especially those who work for the government, that's what they're saying or seeing now for themselves. You were not exempt from the BS that is happening. Matter of fact, it seems, if you really look at it, that they're in direct line of fire of what's going on right now. And that's the scary part about this whole situation.
That's true. So April 5th, they're having a march across the country, but a lot of African Americans gonna sit it out. Are you still sitting out?
Yeah, I'm sitting it out, and I ain't spending no money. And some of these places that got rid of the DEI, and that's the crazy part about it, because a lot of NATO, what they really saying is that the DEI was for them too, that they benefited. So I think that's what we really have to start thinking about: how you spend your money, who you spend your money with, and where you spend your money. So you have to be impactful. But yeah, I think now, because we've always been the ones who marked, and sometimes people say that, oh, we was just making stuff up. Guess what? Ding ding. Your lights on now, baby. And now you realizing that we wasn't making nothing up. But yeah, now it's time for them to organize. So go ahead, organize. We gonna take this to the back seat. Those of us that were in that 82% and
82%.
or 92%, my bad, my apologies, and move on. We said that at the top of the year.
We've been holding true. We've been
Once
holding
we
true to that.
Yeah, and we're gonna continue to, because I think that's what we have to do. It's time for everybody else to find their voices and to take a stand. And it ain't even nothing against y'all, but sometimes you gotta understand what it feels like. You gotta get in the fire. So it's time for us to sit down and let the other people get in the fire. But I'm gonna keep doing what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cheer for y'all from the sideline, and I'm gonna boo when it's time to boo, and I'm gonna clap when it's time to clap. But as far as arm in arm and marching and all of that, no, I'm gonna sip my tea and mind my business.
And then
That's how that's gonna go.
we're gonna be learning new line dances. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Speaking of that, I was trying to see a couple weeks ago to go out and be able to shake me a little something, and definitely had a good time. And it's a lot of people that's out here getting it, baby. It's a great form of exercise. I had a good time, and I'm still now more intrigued to learn more about the line dancing in the ballroom. That's something that was never my forte. But I absolutely love to see the people out there moving the way they do and getting in it. But yeah, that's what we doing. And we dressing up. When we going out here and learning these new dances, they got their little fans, their cowboy boots, and their little hats on and everything. We make everything a production out here. So we definitely is in it. So yeah, we are watching, but we're also being preoccupied. We're doing some other things, and I think that's the beautiful thing about how we do what we do.
Now I do think it's interesting because the latest executive order targets the Smithsonian, and in particular the African American Museum. I want to see how that plays. I knew this was going to happen. I was just waiting for it. I knew it was.
And that's crazy. You need to leave that. That needs to be left alone. But see, that's what I'm saying. He has to be very careful, in my Elmer Fudd, Bugs Bunny era voice, to make sure that he reads the room really well. Because there's certain things that you just don't want to disrupt, because you're listening and you're taking orders from somebody who is not a citizen. And if you listen to a lot of these town hall meetings, that's what people is really pissing a lot of people off, because you're taking your cue from a person who isn't a natural citizen of the U.S. He don't even have the right to vote in any election here. So we have to be mindful of really what's going on. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of crazy stuff that's happening. Even that person who shall remain nameless on this podcast is experiencing some backlash of epic proportion. And I'm like, hey, you making your beds out here. You got that. This the old saying, you make your bed, you got to lie in it. So this is what you're doing. Or if you lay down with dogs, you're going to get up with fleas. So you itching, you scratching, and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But you got to pay attention. So he got to be mindful too. Even with J.D. Vance going over to wherever he going to try to talk to people in Greenland to giving up their land, or for whatever reason, Greenland, pay attention. This ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Don't get caught up. Ain't that much money that should be put on the table.
They didn't want him to come.
Yeah, and they
didn't want. They had to change their whole itinerary because nobody would welcome them.
See what I'm talking about? But that's what I'm saying. You pissing off people. You got to be mindful. And then see, that's what I'm saying. Now you starting to get to the point where you are doing all of these things and now we're not going to be welcome. And we have to be careful for people who like to travel abroad. We still want to be welcome because we're trying to disassociate ourselves with all of this stuff going on. Ain't nobody got time for the crazy at all.
So yeah, a lot happened in March. People got fired.
Yes.
The federal government, they were firing people left and right. They were fired, then
Yes.
they were back hired. Then it was like, no, you fired again. It was a lot going on in March.
And some of them people didn't even want to go back
I know.
because you keep playing with people's emotions. Ain't nobody got time for that. But it is a
When
lot.
you take a look at March, people got fired. You had a whole ton of executive orders on every topic you could think of.
See?
You talking about people who have been students. Students not gonna come here no more because you might be kidnapped.
Because ICE just rolling up on people as they just casually walk in to their next class and talking about we don't care if you have a student visa to be educated here, you got to go.
They're just changing the landscape right now. But we gotta look at it as a pause in history. And it will go down in history, but we just gotta make sure that it doesn't become a history.
That part.
And
And that's very important. That is. Look, I want to go to the lighter side a little bit because I just watched it right before we came on. Have you seen the video that's gone viral about Mr. Sapp?
I would have gave my money in the church. People do that. He was just doing a little bit of math. He needed $40,000, so he did his math.
That ain't, I'm just saying. Come on now. You ain't okay. Speaking from a person from the outside, because I always tell people I don't use that word Christian church folk all the thing. I think that we all still a work in progress. You got to be careful. And this ain't no, I'm not trying to sway anybody one way or the other. You worship how you worship, you believe how you believe. It's not our job here to convince you otherwise, but I'm just speaking from my perspective as somebody who grew up going to church on a regular basis. But at the same time, I've had time away from church, gone back. But this is the thing. You got to be ever so careful because church people know, Christians, whatever you want to label yourself as, you realize and you understand what it is you're doing and the bad taste that you can be putting in other people's mouth because that don't look good. Because everybody who watch videos online or otherwise, or even who sit in the pews in your church and may not be a member, that was a little daunting. And it was a little upsetting to see that you talking about us just close the door. It's like you holding people hostage. Yo, you could be charged for holding people against them. I don't know. There was
I think they would go a little try.
But
wanted to make this. How much did he collect? Did they say?
No, they were saying he was trying to get 40,000, but the whole thing is, sir, if the church ain't making 40,000 just on voluntary basis, because you got to think about everything we just talked about, what's going on in the economy, eggs still high, people scared to spend money, people losing their jobs, and you're going to close the door. And basically, this is what you said. You wanted 1,000 people to give $20, and then you want 1,000 people online to get 20,000. You told the pastors that they gotta pay to be there, and that's crazy to me. But he wanted them to reach in their pockets to get $100. But won't we start being specific? Because if I remember, and I don't profess to know the Bible 100% cover to cover, but I heard that it was 10%, whatever that looked like, and anything above what your tithe is called an offering. But you ain't labeling your offering by putting the dollar amount on it. So I know I heard he tried to go back and clean it up and say that ain't what he meant. But see, dude, you already know everything you do right now, they're recording everything. And it could be taken out of context. We got enough shenanigans going on right now. We don't need this too, especially not coming from the churches. We want people to be able to band together. And what about the people who can't even buy their medicine? That might have been their last 20 and you trying to take it. Come on, yo. We gotta make better choices with our words, and we gotta make better choices because we know a camera is rolling. But he was a little abrupt with it. I even let my mother hear. She was like, "Oh no, is he really doing this?" I said, "See, now this somebody who been in church almost all her life and has had different positions or whatever you want to call it, all up and through there. For some, that's a little more seasoned as far as on that level." She was like, "Oh yeah, that don't even sound good." Even though he might have been, it's a little jokey joke. I think people is running crazy with it online right now. So I think we got to be careful, especially when your job as the shepherd of the house is to usher people in to make them feel comfortable and warm and fuzzy. That I was uncomfortable and I wasn't even sitting in the pew. I was just watching it on the video. But you wouldn't have got no soft 20 out of me because how you asked for it. And that's my piece on it. What else we got?
I think it was just to lock the door part because I've been a part of churches where everybody asked everybody to give a certain amount. So that wasn't really, I think it was the part when you said lock the doors. That was a little bit.
Yeah, that was too extreme. It's a violation. Quick plan. You can't have no locked doors in no church. The fire marshal, something happen, and you gotta anything happen nowadays. You gotta be mindful. Just you gotta make it make sense, and because words carry a lot of weight and a lot of power. Now, Fina, when you said something about the Breakfast Club, we want to touch on that a little bit before we wrap and wind.
The Breakfast Club, we had Wendy Williams is out. She's been able to move into her own apartment, I believe. And I like the fact that people really, really went for Wendy Williams and people really pushed it out there. Like, hey, free Wendy. She was able to get another lawyer. She was able to get an advocate and she advocated for herself. And
I love
she's
that.
definitely made some headway. So I'm happy about that for her. Whether she's 100% better or not, she was on The View and she did a great job in the interview. So I'm happy that she's out 'cause I think nobody deserves to be locked up like that.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And I think that she is on whatever road of recovery, whatever that looks like for her. So definitely shout out to Wendy Williams. A lot of people, including Just Hilarious and Lauren London, who are on the Breakfast Club, wouldn't probably be where they are now. And a lot of people, even Charlamagne said it too, if it wasn't for a trailblazer named Wendy Williams, who had her start out in radio too, right? Because that's what she was doing, even though she had her own spin of what she was bringing to the people, but it's still, she set that tone and that platform. So definitely shout out to them and everybody who's either worked with her or has been a part of her show when she went to television or whomever for just standing with her and by her and definitely who advocated for her to get where she is now, and hopefully her recovery will be most expeditious and she'll get back to doing the things that she loves to do. And we wish her nothing but happiness and good health.
Yeah, speaking of the Breakfast Club, did you catch the Jess and then they aired their dirty laundry on the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, it was crazy. So again, shout out to Just Hilarious. Definitely being a female comedian myself, I already know how hard this business is, especially it went by you being a woman. We already don't get paid in corporate America. We feel that we're worth, and in the entertainment business, it's no different. I think a lot of people took one comedian took it and ran with it. And so it forced a conversation. But what I did love is that they did talk about it. They didn't sweep it under the rug. Her and Lauren had a conversation. I learned a lot by listening to both of them. I didn't know that Jess basically picked Lauren to fill in for her while she was out on maternity leave. And I could see how it could be a little disconcerting when you come back and the person who was just supposed to be there to fill in is still there and nobody's really having a conversation about it. But I love the fact that they were able to talk about it. I don't think any one of them said anything that's wrong. They're human at the end of the day. And when you come back to work, especially after you've been gone for a while, and you don't expect everything to be 100% the same like before you left. But at the same time, conversation should have been probably had before she entered back into the building and said, "Hey, look, we want to try this or we want to implement that," or whatever the case may be. because you already knew who you were getting when you got. Just like she said, she's not a reporter. She's not a journalist. You knew who she was when you hired her. That's why y'all hired her, because she bring numbers. She's funny. She's popular. She's still working as a comedian and all of these things. You already knew what you were getting. But then I love what her and Lauren did. They did the Monica and Brandy parody of The Job. Did you see that? I actually saw that
I
today.
didn't see that.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. They were funny. So that it was like they was basically saying that the job is mine. But instead of saying the boy is mine, they said the job is mine. But it was cute how they was able to do it. But it just showed that they were able to have a discussion, even though a lot of points they didn't agree on, but they were still grown women about it, and they were still supportive of each other through it. And it really showed how sometimes all you got to do is have a conversation, but it really showed how Black women can still agree to disagree, but at the same time learn how to get along and then figure out how to work through whatever the processes is. So shout out to them, and shout out to the Breakfast Club for being able to keep both sisters on the show and keep the show rolling. I don't think it shouldn't be, and that's what Charlamagne was saying. Don't let social media fuel the narrative. And I think that's what almost happened. But they were grown enough, adult enough, women enough to say, you know what, we gonna talk about it. And however we need to hash it out, we gonna hash it out. So that's what they did.
Yeah, that was quite the news story for the week in entertainment. But another news story that happened, I don't know if you heard about this, out of Texas. These sisters, they attacked their mother because she turned off the Wi-Fi.
No, I didn't hear that.
And so the question on the internet was, would you let them come back home? They're in juvenile detention right now. But would you let them come back home?
What is wrong? Is it something mentally challenging with the daughter?
Not sure. It was more than one daughter, but all the kids, they attacked her, hit her with a brick in the head, but because she turned off the Wi-Fi.
Wow. Ooh, child. You know what? I'm gonna say I gotta do some research. I don't want to just go in and with my first mind. Let me do some fact checking, because that screams somebody got some mental health issues going on, because you attacking somebody.
They were just angry kids. They were angry.
But you ain't well, damn it, we've been angry a lot of times too, because your mother told you you couldn't go somewhere, or your father told you you couldn't go somewhere. You know how many times I got, as an adolescent, I'd have been pissed off at my mother because she told me I couldn't go skating with my friends, or couldn't go to the movies, or couldn't go to the dance. That don't mean I'm gonna attack my mother. The freak.
Get mad? No, they can't watch something.
No, I don't give a damn. Yeah, it's just certain rules. It's like a code, right? Y'all know I'm an OG, and here go the hood philosophy. It's certain codes you just don't cross. You don't fight your parents, let alone hit them with a brick. It's very much given the Menendez brothers. Let's not do that. We're not gonna use, because they can't look at social media. How many times you was on punishment and couldn't look at the TV, right? How many times you couldn't go outside and play with your friends because you was on punishment because you didn't do that your parents told you to do? Hell, you ain't paying for the Wi-Fi. The freak wrong with y'all? Jumping on your mom, and now you in detention. You want to come back home. So now this the consequences of your actions. Maybe you need to think about it for a little while. So that's why I said I don't want to jump into no conclusions until I had the opportunity. Number one, let me see it. And then number two, let me do some fact finding, because I'm praying and hoping that maybe y'all got some other issues y'all need to work out. But if you're willing to hurt your mother over something because you can't get online, then are you willing to hurt her for something else? See, it's like here are the layers of this onion, and we got to keep peeling it back, because it got to be deeper than that. But I couldn't. Me being a mother, and I have adult children now, as it, baby, I wish they might. Is all I can tell you. I'm old school for real. If my children even thought about it, They better not think too loud about it now and let me hear it. Oh, we is not about to play these games. I promise. But no, let me look. Ooh, baby, that got my blood a little. That got my temp.
So what words you got for us tonight as we begin to end the show?
Here we are first. Again, happy Women's History Month, and thank you for riding with us on this journey. Do you know that we almost had 2 years of doing this? It's crazy to me, and I still enjoy it as much as I did the first time that we joined together. So this is my word of the wise. Turn the TV off. Take your time on social media. Take a break from it too, if that's what you need to do. Because more important than anything else, and I think we all on this platform agree that your mental health is the most important thing. Everything else we can get through, we can work through. Financial things you can work through, finding a job, creating a position, even dating in this climate, we can work through. Even being locked in the church and being asked for money, we can work through, right? But the political climate of this country, especially in these United States, is definitely weighing heavy on a lot of people. People are losing their jobs. People are uncertain. They're not confident that tomorrow they're going to be able to buy groceries or their medicine or be able to send their children to school to be able to learn something worthwhile and meaningful. The fabric of our country is being challenged at every turn, from the museums that we love to books that we have loved to read as children, to even being able just to go across the water and high five and spend time with our friends in Canada or in Mexico or even in Thailand. And shout out to them too. I know y'all going through a lot with the earthquakes that have happened. So definitely our prayers and our thoughts are with you. But I think we all have to take a step back, and this should be a wake-up call to any elected official or anybody thinking about running for an office. Make sure that you're running for the right reasons. You don't want to run just because you want to say that you're the president of something or a co-chair of something or a congressman or a senator or a governor or a mayor or even sitting on the city council. You want to make sure that when you run for these positions that you're running for them for all the right reasons, because you want to effect an exact change in your community for everybody, no matter where they're from, no matter what they look like, no matter what other languages they speak, or no matter what God they serve. Because that's not your say of how they live their life behind their closed doors. So I think sometimes we have to take a step back, take a deep breath, make sure that we remember to breathe, and make sure that we're doing our part. So we're going to continue to stand with the 92% of us who try to say, we told y'all so, without trying to say, we told y'all. But we're going to be here, but we just want to see how y'all work it. So then eventually from this too, we can learn. So now all of us can work together. So this stuff right here don't keep happening. So make sure that when you see your neighbor, smile at somebody, wave, and have a kind word. And just don't grim everybody, but definitely pay attention. But every now and again, you got to turn the TV off. That's my word. That's our time. We appreciate y'all. It's our pleasure to make you laugh, to make you think, and to bring you stories that happen from all over the world. And we'll see y'all when we see you. Peace.